Hey guys, welcome to my review of Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind album. This came out a couple weeks ago on August 9th, and it's their sixth album so far. Now, I haven't listened to a ton of their music, but I do love this genre, and I feel that listening to this, I've grown from it, and I know a lot more from this genre than I did before. Just a little disclaimer as well is that I'm not going to review the song called What's Next on the album, just because it is a non-track in a way, an interlude kind of. So, with that being said, let's start this up. Insert Coin is a pretty good instrumental, but oddly, it sometimes feels a bit cluttered, and it has a bit too much of the on and off switch of good and bad. It starts off great, the intro is definitely the best part of the song, but because it flips back and forth between being a good and bad song, I have to only give it an 82. Their next song, Unsainted, also being their only single of the album, has an incredible chorus, and the instrumentals are also really good on the chorus. However, the verses don't fully connect with me on the instrumentals just because it feels like there's a piece missing. Whatever that missing part is, it's only very small, so it's not a major thing that could change and alter the song completely, but just enough that it makes it complete. This song I would definitely listen to again, and I'll give it a 92. Oh my, the instrumentals on Birth of the Cruel. They were ridiculous, and I'm not even joking when I say that they are some of the best instrumentals I have ever heard. The vocals definitely took a step back from the other two songs, for sure, but the instrumentals carry the song just so much. It's amazing. The only issue is that with the vocals holding it back, it can't be the best song that's on the album. So because of that, I can only give it an 87. Death Because of Death is a bit of a nice interlude, although the end has a weird, it's kind of a warbly effect. That's the only way I can describe it, but it gets way too strong in the song and it doesn't carry through the song well. So I can only give this interlude an 84 out of 100. Their next song, Nero Forte, has a very, very weak beginning. So it was hard to listen to the first part, but by the end of the song, it was something I felt that I could listen to again and again. The instrumentals were not standout in comparison to some of the other songs like Birth of the Cruel and Unsainted, but it sounded something like what other people who were similar to Slipknot would make. And overall, I'd give it a 77 because it's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. Critical Darling had me extremely confused. Throughout this album, I've loved the choruses, and I thought the vocals and the instrumentals on it were incredible. But then sometimes it seemed like the verses were kind of the part that were slacking a little bit. However, in this song, it actually kind of switched around for me. I thought the verses were far superior than the choruses were. It was a huge plus to me because they were a bigger chunk of the song than the chorus was, but had the vocals on the chorus been a little bit better, I definitely could have even given it more. So with that being said, I can give it an 87, but no more than that. A Liar's Funeral definitely became my favorite right away. First listen, I love this song. There was not really anything that I could think of that was bad on it. The acoustic was great, the scream was awesome, the instrumentals was kind of like the glue, and it just made it my favorite easily. I have to give it a 96, just because I was so mesmerized when I was listening to it that I ended up playing it on loop for another 6 times afterwards. Red Flag is alright. It has that kind of Metal 101 stuff, kind of the basics, and where you would go if you were reading a book learning how to make a metal song. It's not super listenable, just because where it is, almost where you would start, so I can only really give it a 69. Spiders had me a bit intrigued because I think back to the Spider song by System of a Down, and with that song being as good as it was, I was hoping that this song was as good as that. Obviously differently, but still at that caliber of being able to listen to it. The song is solid, but the solo kind of sounds odd with the rest of the instruments that are in the song. It doesn't quite fit, and it really messes up the jive of the song, and it really sucks because that section is actually pretty huge in the entire song. So I can only give it a 78 for that, but had it not had that solo or had it sound a little bit different, I definitely would be listening to the song much more. Orphan is a good song. It's one that you could probably listen to again. The only issue is that it's kind of monotone-esque. You listen to it and you can kind of hear that the vocals stay on one tone, the instrumentals kind of are one note kind of thing. It's really all one thing. And had they switched even just once, or switched between the chorus and the verses made it sound a little bit different, it probably could have sounded pretty good. But because it really didn't do that and the verses and the choruses sound meshed together, it's just really boring to listen to. Orphan gets a 72 just because it is good for what it was doing, but it's just too much of that good thing for too long. If you take out the first 2 minutes and the last 2.5 minutes of basically nothing that's in the song My Pain, it's a pretty good song. I would listen to it again many more times. But it's so hard to listen to, having to wait for about 2 minutes before you actually hear anything that you'd want to listen to. And then by the time you're done that middle chunk, which is also only about 2 minutes, you have to wait another almost 3 minutes before you can listen to another song. It's really, really hard to listen to because of that, and I can only give it a 62 because it's so excessive. Not Long for This World has a good sound, and in a majority of the song, it was pretty good. The only part that isn't good is the techie sound that's in the last 30 seconds or so, and it's not a good sound to listen to. It's pretty nasty. Not Long for This World also has the empty sound for the intro, and it's also for nearly a minute. That's really, really hard to do, especially when you're listening to My Pain right before it, and then it goes straight into this song. So you're listening to over 3 minutes of just almost nothing. There's slightly different nothings, but they're just not good. The song is pretty good otherwise, and I would listen to it again, so I'd give it a 77. The last song on the album, Solway Firth, has some of the best drumming in the album I've heard. I don't know what they changed up about it, but it sounds so much better to me, and it's much more stand out in this song. And it's a really rocking sound as well, and it will pump you up. I would listen to this to the gym. Just, you take a punching bag and you're just punching it for an hour, and you listen to this song, it'll just make you go faster. The only issue is that, yet again, there's a minute at the beginning where nothing goes on. Solway Firth gets an 84, but could have had so much higher had it not had the intro be silent, or had it not been there at all. Overall, this album was really good, and most of the songs were amazing to listen to. I would listen to them again all the time. I'd probably put it up there with Toxicity from System of a Down. It was incredible. The only issue, and it's kind of overarching because it's on several of the songs, is the issue of incredible amounts of silence. There is, I believe it's 6 minutes of silence in the last 4 songs. And that's not something I want to listen to. And it will make me not want to ever listen to those songs again. I think these silences would have been much better had they been maybe separated a little bit, first song, fifth song, eighth song kind of thing. But because they're all in a row, and sometimes when you have the 2 minutes at the end and then you have another minute or two at the beginning of the next song, you have a huge song length worth of silence. I don't really want to listen to that, and I wouldn't listen to that. So because of that, I wouldn't listen to those songs in a row. I'd probably put it on shuffle and specifically put them in a certain order. So because of that, I averaged it out. This album gets an 81. And the majority of the songs, as I said before, are good. It's just the silence bogs it down. If you enjoyed this review, you can always like or subscribe. And if you think I have no taste in music, you can always let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed the review, you can always like and subscribe. And if you think I have no taste in music at all, you can always let me know. with that being said, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.